Alright guys, so I am just completing that last row. Okay, so it's time to slip stitch. So go in the first chain, second chain, wrap, bring it through, and do that. Okay, and here's the place stitch, or the stitch holder, place stitch marker. It goes by many names, but you see I have now. So from there I was supposed to do 4 more rows. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, so there are my 5 rows. And now pretty much I decided I want to change the color. Okay, so the actual, what I'm doing, you know, 1 double crochet in each of the stitches, that's not going to change, but I am going to change my color at this point. So let me show you how to do this. Alright, I told you at the beginning that you're going to need a pair of scissors, so we're going to use them now, and I don't know, maybe like about that much. Okay, cut. Alright, so we're done with this one now. It was nice knowing you, and you see we have this. Okay, you don't want to pull that or it'll come out, right? So keep the loop like that. And then I think I want to use, I don't know, you know, I kind of just playing it by ear. I don't really have any colors in mind. Sometimes I just want to be random. So I think in the spirit of being random, I'm going to use this red here. Okay, so let me find the, okay, there we go. Just want to make sure I found the tail that's coming from the inside, which I did. Alright, so the way you change, or one of the ways you can change the yarn color is, so you have the tail, right? You fold it like that. Okay, you guys see that? Okay, and then you turn it so that that tail part is in the front. Okay, now you're going to basically loop that on there. Okay, so remember it's like this, right? You're going to stick that hook in there and pull it through the loop like that. Now we're going to go to the tail of the blue, the one we cut before, and we're going to pull that really tightly. Okay, and then we're going to use the new red tail. Okay, we're going to pull that a little bit to get it tighter and closer to the needle or the hook, whatever you want to call it. And then I like to tie a little knot right here between these two tails. Okay, so I tie one like that. Okay, and then I'm going to tie it again really tightly just to make sure it doesn't come out. Then I like to cut these to make sure, because right now they're slightly at, you probably can't tell, or actually they're pretty close, but they're slightly at different lengths. So I like to cut it so that they're definitely at the same length. Alright, now since we're on the new row, as always we got to chain 3 so we can, you know, have a stitch to represent that first double crochet. So 1, 2, 3. Alright, and I'm going to take these tails, okay, the blue and the red, and I'm going to lay them out across the top, and I'm going to crochet over them basically. So now I'm just going to do my 69 remaining double crochets for this row. So I wrap, go in the top of this, of that, right, and I'm laying those the two tails over. So I wrap, pull through, and it's over. I don't know if you can tell that it's over these, the tails, and then I just do a double crochet like normal. Okay, so you see the two tails there, the stitches, the double crochet is over them, and it'll hide it pretty well. So wrap, lay these over the stitches, go in the top like normal, wrap, pull through, wrap, go through 1, 2, wrap, go through 1, 2. And when you get, you know, advanced or really good at this, you don't go through them individually, you go through 2 at a time. Like that. Okay, and here it's a little bit more, so I'm going to try to get it hidden with this double crochet, and it can kind of be in there if it wants, it's fine. I could always pull that back out if, you know, you're worried about blue showing there. You can undo the stitch, and you could just put a double crochet there without going over it and leave that to show on the inside. You see? So now it's not showing on the outside, it'll be on the inside. You could cut this if you wanted. I kind of like to just have it mesh in, and then if anything does show, then yeah, I'll cut it later. But it doesn't bother me that it might show, it might bleed through a little bit, you know. And then you could always, like, from the inside kind of pull it in like that. But basically now I've successfully changed colors. Okay, so I'm gonna do 5 more rows now with this red, at which point I'll probably change colors again. But yeah, that's how you change colors. Okay, and I don't need to put that stitch marker, that stitch holder up here, right? Because it's a different color. So if ever I forget how many rows of the red I did, I just look and see where I started red, right? And I count from there. So I don't even need that at this point, because the color itself is the placeholder, essentially. Okay, but you see how you can't really see the tail? It's pretty cool, right? So complete 5 more rows where you're just putting 1 double crochet in every stitch, and you're maintaining a total of 70 stitches per row, counting that first chain 3. Okay, and then I will see you shortly. Alright, so this is where I am at this point. I just completed the 5 rows of the red. You could do another 2 rows if you wanted to, and then start decreasing, but I'm going to decrease now because I don't have, like, really how should I put it, my locks, as you've seen, you know, they don't like do that great of a job of filling out my tams, which I'm fine with. I kind of like the I don't know, that, I forget what is the terminology for it, that the lazy sort of slouchy hat, that's it, the slouchy hat look. And it's cool because all of these tams that fit me like that, they will fit me years later when my locks do get super long. So it's kind of like when you buy you know, clothes for like children or babies or toddlers and stuff, and you get them too big so that they'll grow into them. That's kind of how I see the tams. So with a lot of the other tams, the ones especially that have that slouchy hat fit, I do 2 more rows, and then I start my decrease row. But since I only have 1 other tam that really fits my lots, you know, a little bit more snugly, I'm going to make this one like that. So I'm done with all the rows that I'm going to do with the 70 stitches. Now I'm going to start my decrease row, but I am also going to change the color as well. And I was thinking, you know, as I was working on this, it kind of reminded me of I think it was the rocket, the popsicle that you used to be able to get, you know, and I was like, oh, maybe I should add white up here, but that's probably a little too predictable. So I think I'm going to just add black. So let me show you how to change colors once again, and you should be an old pro by the time we're done with this tam. Alright, so once again, I want to cut this. Alright, so this is what I have. And then I'm going to get the black, fold it, and make sure the tail is kind of in front. So first the connected one and then the tail in the front. And then I'm going to pull the black through the red. So now this will be my new loop on my hook. And I'm going to grab the tail of the red and pull very snugly. So it almost disappears and it only looks like the black has the, and it only looks like the loop on the hook is the black, which is really the case. Alright, so now that I've done that, so I pull and then I hold this one while I'm pulling as well so it kind of gets snug to the needle. I'll tie the knot. I'm going to tie it twice, remember. So one, and then again. Alright, and then I want to kind of even these out a little bit. So I'll cut there. And now I'm going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3 with the black. Alright, and I'm going to lay these 2 pieces basically on top of my stitches. And I'm going to crochet over them just like before. Alright, so with the decrease row, you have to do 1 double crochet, and the pattern is 1 double crochet in 5 stitches, and then you decrease in the 6th and 7th stitch. So remember, this first chain 3 that acts as a double crochet, it serves as a double crochet. So we have 4 more double crochets in the next 4 stitches that we need to do. So 1, go on the top. Remember to lay those over it, so you're crocheting over it. So I have 4 more to go now. I'm just giving myself some slack. Okay. Alright. And one of the reasons that I didn't start out with black is because it might be hard to see the actual details of the stitches on camera. So, but I want to use black here now. So, okay. So, as I said, the pattern is 5 double crochet, and then you decrease on the 6th and 7th stitch. So, remember that first chain 3. I've said it a million times now, but it serves as a double crochet. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, 6 and 7 will be here. So what you do is you wrap, you go in like normal, pull through, okay, wrap, go through 2, and normally you would wrap and go through 2 again. That would complete the double crochet, but we're decreasing, so we don't do that. We do, however, wrap, go into the next stitch, the 7th stitch, wrap, bring it through, wrap, go through 2, wrap, go through all 3. And now you can see that this has 1 head, right? 1 head for 2 stitches. So we just decreased, right? So if you look at the stitches, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 stitches, right? As it should be. But if you look at the heads, that'd be like 1 head, right? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we've actually decreased. Alright? So let's do it again. Let me show you again. So we're gonna do 5 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Alright. Now it's time for the juicy, fun, interesting part. Alright, so we wrap and we go into the 6th stitch, wrap, bring it through, wrap, go through 2 like normal, okay? But we don't wrap and go through these next 2. We wrap and then we go into that 7th stitch, wrap, go through 2, and then wrap and go through 3. And once again, I don't know how visible this is on the camera, but that head right there, that's the new stitch for these 2 stitches. It's combined basically. You see that? See how there's 1 head For all these other ones, there's one head per stitch, but now there's one head right there for 2 stitches. So that confirms that we've actually decreased. All right. One more time, guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so here's the last decrease, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now wrap, go in, wrap, go through 2, wrap, go into the next stitch, go through 2, wrap, go through 3. And once again, we've successfully decreased. Can you see that? Okay. Alright, so I'm going to continue on, and I will see you at the end of this row. Alright, so we are nearing the end of this row. I know that I need to have 7 more stitches at least, right? Because I have to do 5 double crochets, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I need to be able to decrease in that 6th and 7th stitch. So once again, my math is still solid, and let's do it. Alright, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and now 6 and 7. Wrap, go in, go through 2, wrap, go into the next stitch, go through 2, and then go through 3. And now we're at the end, and so I go in the first, second chain up and slip stitch it. Okay, so now just completed my decrease row, and now we're going to do the final row for this tam. You might be thinking, we never did the single crochets. We did chain stitches and slip stitches and slip knots and double crochets, but we never did the single crochet. Well, I told you we would use it on the last row. So instead of chaining 3, remember chain 3 normally represents a double crochet, we're going to chain 2, because think about it, we don't need to go as high as we would if we were doing double crochets, because it's a single crochet, and if you remember from before, the single crochets are shorter than the double crochets. Alright, so we chain 2 instead of chaining 3, and then we don't wrap, right? We just go into the top, wrap, pull through, wrap, and go through. Okay? Go in, wrap, pull through, wrap, go through 2. Go in, wrap, pull through, wrap, go through 2. No, don't wrap, go in, pull through, wrap, go through 2. Pull through, wrap, go through 2. Go in, wrap, pull through, wrap, go through 2. Go in, wrap, pull through, wrap, go through 2. Go through, wrap, pull through, wrap, go through 2. You can already tell that these single crochets are much shorter than the double crochets below. Okay, so 1 single crochet in every stitch. Okay, and we're back down to 60 stitches now that we did the decrease row. Okay, so that meant we ended up decreasing 10 times in the last row, and we're down to 60 stitches, so we should have a total of 60 single crochets if you count the chain 2 at the beginning. And then yeah, we'll meet back and I will tell you what's next, and we'll wrap it up. Alright, so as I'm finishing up this row, I'm just going to talk a little bit. So we needed to decrease in the previous row to basically make the hole smaller, right? We increased to make the hole bigger so that our locks would be able to fit into the tam, and then we needed to decrease because that the part where the rim is, it's not going to need as much space as the area for our locks, right? So we decreased to kind of close the hole, and the reason I like going around with a row of single crochets as the last row is because it kind of acts as a band in a way, and it also works to kind of close up that hole a bit. You could do a couple of rows of single crochets to end it if you wanted to. I found that one is sufficient. But yeah, you can do, you know, 2, 3, how many ever you want, and it'll actually really look like a band. But to me, doing a row of single crochets, it's a nice, it gives a nice finished look to the tam. Okay, so now we just have 2 more stitches, and just to show you again, you look here, 1, 2, 3, right? But since this was decreased, it's only 1, and we look at the tops, it's only 1, 2 stitches. Okay, and then go in, wrap. All right, and to finish this off, we're going to go into that chain 2, and I'm going to go into the first chain. Okay, not the top one, but the bottom one, because remember we chained 1 and then chain 2. I'm going to go into the bottom one, go in, and I'm not going to single crochet. If I were single crocheting here, I would wrap and come through, right? Wrap and go through, but I'm not single crocheting. Remember, slip stitch is just when you go in, you wrap, and then you go through 1 and 2. All right. Now, the best way to always end is to, because it kind of creates a knot in itself, is to do a chain stitch. So 1 chain, and then cut your yarn, and then pull it like this and pull it down and tighten it. Now there's a knot there. Okay, and this is what your tam looks like at this point. Okay, so I'll make another part showing you how to tuck away, you know, this excess yarn, both there and on the inside. Sometimes it's pretty long and you can tuck it away, but since it's on the inside, you don't even have to, you know, you don't have to tuck it away. But there are ways to that one can go about closing that little hole there and stuff, which is there as well. So yeah, this is how you make a tam, and in the next part I'll show you the finishing touches, and you guys can get started on your own tams. Alright, I'll see you in a bit.